The big debate tonight, the bill to replace the Delhi Ordinance was moved in the Lok Sabha today. There's likely to be a debate tomorrow. This will basically give power over services and appointments to a committee instead of the elected government of Delhi. The opposition says this runs afoul of the Supreme Court judgment, which happened in May. But the court clearly also said in that judgment and in numerous judgments concerning the national capital of Delhi that Parliament can bring in laws. Also, the opposition has taken umbrage to the fact that while a no-confidence motion is pending in Parliament, how can such a significant legislation be brought forth for discussion? But up first, the story of what transpired in Parliament today, and then we'll go across to our guests.
सर्वोच्च न्यायालय ने स्पष्ट किया है कि संसद दिल्ली संघ राज्य क्षेत्र के लिए कोई भी कानून बना सकता है.
Let's be very clear. This is the most undemocratic, unconstitutional piece of legislation to have ever been tabled in Parliament in the form of a bill. This basically replaces democracy in Delhi with Babucracy.
The bill vindicates the outrageous infringement of this government upon the territory of the states. It is designed of digging up a graveyard.
YSR Congress Party and our leader Sri YS Jagannath Reddy Garu has taken a decision to support it, and we will be supporting the bill.
All right, joining us on the talking point this evening, Shehzad Poonawalla, national spokesperson of the BJP here in our studios, Onika Mehrotra, spokesperson of the Congress Party, Jasmine Shah, spokesperson of the Aam Aadmi Party and vice chair of the Delhi Dialogues Commission, Umesh Sehgal is former chief secretary of Delhi. Shehzad Poonawalla, the opposition saying that this bill is envisaged to circumvent a Supreme Court order. It was a constitutional bench of the Supreme Court that decided that the authority for appointments and services rests with the Delhi government. You are basically circumventing that authority and giving it to a committee which has two bureaucrats and one, the elected chief minister of Delhi.
Nothing could be further from the truth, because if you read the 11th May judgment of the Supreme Court, and I am quoting to you in summation para 78 to para 95, it clearly says that the scheme envisaged under 239 AA3B, which basically empowers Parliament to make any law for Delhi, because Delhi is not a regular state, it's a union territory. It allows the Parliament to make laws on stateless subjects apart from 1, 2 and 18, which is land, law and order and police. And if the union government or the Parliament makes a law, then the executive power of the LG extends to that extent. This has been categorically said by the Supreme Court judgment of 11th of May. Therefore, when Jasmine's party went and sought a stay as government of Delhi on this particular ordinance, on two occasions the Delhi government was refused a stay categorically by the Supreme Court, even though they transferred one of the issues into the higher bench of the constitutional bench of the court. Now let's come to the fact. What is the fact? The fact is that in every state there is an authority that decides upon transfer and postings and important crucial postings. Why is the Aam Aadmi Party so adamant that they want to control transfer and postings? Is it because they want to do a scam, or is it because, as Mr. Rajshekhar or Mr. More said, that they wanted to take out the excise duty files or the files of the Sheesh Mahal?
But they are the elected government of Delhi. I mean, you tell me which other state does not have the authority to appoint
Delhi is not
bureaucrats?
A full state. Delhi is
it's not a full state.
Yeah.
I didn't say it is a full state, but they are the elected government.
So let me make it very clear. I can imagine if Onika was to say that this was done for Himachal and she had a problem. Himachal is a full state. Madhya Pradesh is a full state. Delhi is not a full state. 239 3A, AA3B, and apart from that, the para 78 to para 95. I can read out just one line. I'll just read out one line. If Parliament enacts a law, this is Supreme Court, granting executive power on any subject within the domain of NCTD, the executive power of the Lieutenant Governor shall be modified to that extent as provided in the law. This is the law. And forget just one last.
Okay, this is the judgment. You made that point. Let me ask Jasmine. Jasmine, I think Shehzad has a valid point. The bill that has been envisaged and the bill that's been brought forth and tabled in the Lok Sabha today, it's in line with 239 AA of the Constitution. It gives special status to Delhi as a union territory, and it allows Parliament to make laws on all issues other than the three that was mentioned, law and order, land and policing. Now, why shouldn't such a bill be brought forth by Parliament? If the will of Parliament is not there, if majority is not there for this bill should be defeated on the floor of the Parliament. But if the will of Parliament is there, if the majority's support is there, including among parties, neutral parties, third parties like BJD and YSRCP, why shouldn't this bill be brought forth and debated and passed?
Zaka, I'll come to your very precise question in just a second. I first like to categorically state that this is the most undemocratic and unconstitutional breach of power, almost a power grab attempted by the Modi government in the last 9 years. And it's the simple reason is that for the last 25 years, BJP has been trying to win the government of Delhi, be in power in Delhi. The people of Delhi have pushed them out. Earlier, Congress was in power, and now Aam Aadmi Party is in power, and they have realized it that for the next 50 years, they cannot win a democratic election in Delhi, and that is the reason this bill has been brought. Your question is the Parliament has an authority to pass a law. Absolutely, the Parliament has an authority to pass a law as far as Delhi is concerned, as far as any other state is concerned, as far as subjects of the concurrent list is concerned. But no law can violate either the Constitution of India, or second, the basic structure of the Constitution. This has been held umpteen number of times by the Supreme Court. The reason why this violates the Constitution is because, Zaka, it's very clear. The Supreme Court judgment of May 2023 categorically stated that is incomprehensible. How can an elected government run if it does not control the services? And the Article 239AA already states that except for these three subjects, everything else comes in the domain of the elected government. So unless and until you amend the Constitution, you can't pass a normal law and amend the Constitution. You have to pass a constitutional amendment, and this is what BJP is not doing because they know that they don't have power. One second. Pass a constitutional amendment. But the second I'll just conclude. The second argument is on the federal structure.
I'm not sure. I'm not a lawyer, but I'm not sure that it needs to be a constitutional amendment, because as I understand, and I'm reading from the Supreme Court judgment, this the power to bring a bill, of course, rests with Parliament, and this bill, the bill that the government has brought forth, does not violate the Supreme Court's judgment, because the Supreme Court has simply held that the Delhi government has legislative and executive powers over services, yes, but the judgment also explicitly does not bar Parliament from making laws on that same subject. Now, you have said that Parliament has the powers.
No, you can make the law.
So then where is the need for a constitutional amendment if the Parliament has powers to make a law? What's being brought forth is a law.
No, then anything on... No, then when is a constitutional amendment required? You know, when we say that the government of Delhi has all powers as a regular state, except for the three subjects which are very categorically put out in the Constitution, then you cannot make sure that another fourth subject, which is the services or the control over bureaucracy, can be made under the hand of the central government, which is what, by the way, this authority does. Making two bureaucrats the bosses over the chief minister is essentially amending the Constitution. The number two thing, and the very important thing, is no law, not even an amendment of the Constitution, can violate the federal structure. Today, the reason why this is the most dangerous piece of legislation, Zaka, is because it's not just a control over bureaucracy. Or the Delhi Transport Corporation, Jal Board, all these corporations and boards have now been put under the Lieutenant Governor. I'll ask one question to the BJP. Tell me, what will the elected Chief Minister do?
One second.
Tell me one thing after this bill.
Shehzad Poonawalla,
the elected Chief Minister has no powers
what is
left.
the justification
this is equivalent to
for this three-member committee? I believe.
Once
again, I believe it's called the National Capital Civil Service Authority. This was formed after the Supreme Court judgment of May. It has three members. One is the Chief Minister. The other two are Chief Secretary and Principal Home Secretary. These are bureaucrats appointed by the central government, and the Delhi government does not have a say in this. Are bureaucrats going to lord over an elected government? Are bureaucrats because if it's a committee, then it's going to be a 2:1 majority, and the bureaucrats will have powers over the Chief Minister. If there are differences between the Chief Minister and the other members of the committee, clearly unelected bureaucrats are going to have powers over the Chief Minister.
First of all, Zaka, we cannot play fast and loose with the facts on this show. The fact of the matter is that Mr. Jasmine has completely misquoted what 239AA3B says, and he has completely misquoted the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court, if he has said that categorically allows only Delhi to make laws and to make a structure on services, he should quote me the paragraph. I have quoted para 78 to 95, which explicitly says that Parliament if it makes a law on these subjects apart from 1, 2 and 18 of state
You
list,
cannot
then those laws prevail.
completely
Let's not interrupt
one
each
at a
other.
time, one at a
Let's
time,
not
just
interrupt
one
each
at a
other.
time, one at a
Let's
time,
not
please.
interrupt
One
each
at a
other.
time,
I am
yeah.
speaking
No,
only.
but Shehzad,
let me-
you're
let
not
me
answering my
complete.
question.
I'm coming
No,
to
no,
your
one
question.
second. You're not
Zaka,
answering my
why
question.
are we in such a hurry? Let me answer it in detail.
Because I have limited
Yes,
time
yes,
on the
I
debate.
understand
No?
that.
In
But
a
let me-
three-member committee,
Yes,
the
I'm
chief
coming to
minister
that,
is
Zaka,
one,
but please
the
first-
other two are bureaucrats.
Zaka, I completely understand your question. Let me come to that because the answer to this lies in what I'm saying.
Yes.
The answer to this is that the centre or the parliament has a complete authority as per the Supreme Court judgment and the constitution to make laws on any subject of the state list.
Not the centre, the parliament.
That's right. Parliament, in this case, has the right to make laws on any subject under the state list, not
Yes,
just 1, 2 and 18,
that is
right?
not my question.
Yeah. Now, one second. I'm coming to
again
it.
repeating my question.
I understand. I've come back
A
to it.
three-member
Now I'm coming
committee
to
has
your
two bureaucrats and one
Yes, sir.
chief minister, which means the bureaucrats can
Now I'm
overrule the
coming
chief
to
minister by
now I'm
majority.
coming to your question. Now that we have put this fact, and it's an incontrovertible fact, now let me tell you that the centre or the parliament could have very well envisaged a system where the LG takes a decision. In fact, this is the biggest spirit of cooperative federalism, where the parliament has come up with a legislative scheme where the chief minister is heading the committee. The chief minister technically does not need to be put in this committee.
No,
could have been very
if
well
there is
done.
a dispute, if there is a dispute in this committee,
Zaka,
how is it
Zaka,
resolved?
let me
One
just
second,
quickly
Jasmine.
respond.
One second, Jasmine. Shehzad, if there is a dispute in this committee over the appointment of
Yes.
any particular bureaucrat, whose view will prevail?
Of course, the view of the majority of the committee will prevail.
So there are two bureaucrats in the committee,
Why do you
and
think
there's
that
one
second,
elected chief minister. Whose view do you think will prevail?
Zaka, 1 second. I think that to say
Zaka.
that the bureaucrats will take a certain decision only because they happen to be appointed by a particular system is to question the integrity of the
No,
bureaucrats.
I'm not questioning the
One
integrity.
second.
I'm just questioning logic.
I'm
Anyway,
one second.
so,
One second.
let me go.
Zaka,
I've got others also. One
just
second.
10
I've got
seconds more,
others.
10
I've got
seconds.
no,
Zaka,
one second.
just 10
I've got
seconds,
others.
just 10
I've got
seconds.
others. Onika
Zaka, just 10
Mehrotra is
seconds
there.
more. I promise I'll
Monika
finish in 10
Mehrotra is there.
seconds.
Umesh
Zaka, just
Sehgal
10
is there.
seconds more.
I'm going to come back to you.
Zaka, just 10
I'm
seconds
going
on
to come
this
back to you,
aspect.
Shehzad, please.
Zaka, just 10
Please
seconds.
yield. Please yield.
Okay.
Onika Mehrotra.
Fatal
Onika
point
Mehrotra, 1 second. You have decided as the Congress party, after being tooth and nail opposed to the Aam Aadmi party for 10 plus years now, you have decided to support the Aam Aadmi party and oppose this bill in Parliament. I'm asking a very simple question. The same judgment that you cite of the Supreme Court of May 2023 says explicitly that Parliament has the powers, legislative and executive powers over services, where it can make laws on the same subject of services and appointments. The bill is consistent with 239AA of the Constitution as well as 239AB of the Constitution, which also allows the President to make regulations for peace, progress and the good governance of Delhi. So why then, pray ma'am, please explain to our viewers, is the Congress party opposed to this? Because you had a government in Delhi for the last for 15 years under Sheila Dikshit. The same rules, 239AA and 239AB, applied to her also. Why are you making concessions for Arvind Kejriwal which you didn't make for your own chief minister?
The government of the present government, the present regime, Zaka, in time to come will be remembered for utter misuse of the constitution through their muscle power, money power, whatever. You see, there are burning issues in the parliament of Manipur. They refuse to come on the floor to talk about it. But they, the politics of hatred, the politics of vindictiveness, it's so strong on them that their love for rubbing the opponent whichever way they can, it's more stronger than the love for the nation. So they can go to any extent, use the authority or the power given in the parliament to have political scores. You see, earlier also we had governments, but unfortunately here is, an elected government. You need to give certain authority to elected government to work. Ultimately, you're taking away the authority given by the public to the people of Delhi.
I'm asking you, Sheila Dikshit also, Sheila Dikshit's government also had to work within the ambit of 239AA and 239AB.
Yes.
So, in her case also, it's not like the state government had full authority over services and appointments. It did not.
Umesh sir is there.
Umesh sir is there.
He'll tell you. Gone are those politicians. Gone are Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji and other leaders who have deliberation and They used to have discussions. Gone are the days. It's me or the highway. That's the kind of policy the BJP
that's
is
not an
applying
answer to
these
my
days.
question, ma'am.
So what, even the code, they have defined of that too.
Okay.
So no absolute right. I'm telling you
Umesh Sehgal
that
Sahab,
government of
Umesh Sehgal Sahab, please respond. This is what the Aam Aadmi Party is saying, the rest of the opposition is saying, that the attempt through this bill is to A, violate the Supreme Court judgment, and B, that at the end of the day, the elected government, which is the will of the people of Delhi, should have authority on appointments and services, which was sum and substance of the Supreme Court judgment. This simply is circumventing the Supreme Court judgment. Where do you stand, sir? And how did it function all these years when Sheila Dikshit was in power? Before that, the BJP was in power, and so on in Delhi.
See, basically, these are constitutional issues, legal issues, of which I am not an expert and I would not like to comment. I would like to say that this control business, what is control? We want to control the bureaucracy. We want to control the services. You want to control the services so that you can spend 50 crores on the Chief Minister's bungalow. You want to control the services so that you can do excise scandals. You want to control the bureaucracy. No, so I'm sorry. The bureaucracy is not the servant of the masters who are elected by the people. They have their own constitutional role, their own constitutional authority, and their own constitutional protection. Article 311 protects the bureaucracy. You cannot be removed from service except by an authority which has appointed you. Now, there are various provisions which protect the bureaucracy. In 2013 or 11, there was a Supreme Court ruling which said that you must have a civil services authority. Now, here, I don't know why Chief Minister is a member of that civil services authority. The civil services authority should be totally a civil services authority. Chief Secretary and two secretaries.
Tell me, every other elected state government, sir, Mr. Sehgal, every other elected state government has powers to appoint secretaries and additional secretaries and so on. Why should the government of Delhi not have those
I don't
powers?
dispute that. What I am saying is, I am not disputing that. No, people don't have the arbitrary powers to appoint anybody you like. You see the number of cases which are against the ministers, Chief Minister of Haryana, Chief Minister of Bihar, now the Railway Minister, ex-Railway Minister. You find that appointments are not something which are arbitrary. There are service commissions. There are statutory, constitutional provisions for appointment of people. And as far as appointment is concerned, the executive has hardly any control. They have no control. You have to follow the rules. You have to follow the recruitment rules. You have to frame the recruitment rules as approved by the UPSC or the Public Service Commissions.
Okay, so Jasmine,
as far as the suspensions and this thing is concerned, no, I'll just tell you. Just let me complete one thing.
Okay,
as far as the Central Vigilance Commission is concerned, that has authority over Delhi. As the CBI concerned, it has authority over Delhi. Now these are all central agencies. They already have authority over Delhi. Article 229 notwithstanding, Supreme Court ruling notwithstanding.
Okay.
So to say that on vigilance matters and on appointment matters, the Chief Minister should have sole authority because he is elected is absolutely wrong.
Jasmine, respond. There's also the political charge that you are wanting to do all this to try and escape from the heat that your ministers are facing, whether it is, or ex-ministers are facing, whether it is Manish Sisodia or Satyendra Jain, for whom even now bail has not been granted. Forget about, them getting a clean sheet.
Zaka, by that argument, no party ever that has been elected by the people should be given any powers, because the opposition will always levy some allegations. In a democracy, the will of the people is supreme, and that is period. Let the people of Delhi be the decider of who is appropriate or not to govern them. And as far as the point that you mentioned, Zaka, I must first say that, it is not just about the appointment of bureaucrat. This particular bill goes far beyond that. It actually states that any secretary of any department in Delhi can decide whether to implement a minister's decision or not. No government in the history anywhere in the world which has a parliament democracy has ever passed this law. It further states that the chief secretary will sit in judgment over any decision that the cabinet has passed. What kind of a facade are you even planting? And I would say this is even more dangerous than the emergency, because at least in emergency you called out and you suspended democracy. Today you are electing a chief minister, but taking the you're rugging the entire carpet out of his feet. You have left him with no powers. Tell me one thing that the chief minister can govern.
Bureaucrats will take every decision, forget about not just appointments, but every decision, they will have the final authority and not the elected government of Delhi. That's not democracy.
Zaka, I come to your show with the expectation that we will only stick to facts because you put premium on that. He said that the chief secretary has the authority in this law to override the decision of the chief minister. Can Jasmine, who is also a member of the Delhi Dialogue Commission, as you said, a responsible position for which we are paying taxpayer money, show me the provision in the bill? Can he show us the provision? He's not shown us the provision where the Supreme Court has stated. One second, Jasmine. Please don't keep interrupting. Zaka, my time gets interrupted with this interruption.
Let him finish. Yeah, Shehzad, finish.
Zaka, I asked him very clearly that tell me which paragraphs or provisions of the Supreme Court judgment of 11th May allow only Delhi government or Delhi Assembly to make law on services and the Parliament is withheld from making laws. He couldn't show it. Then I've asked him now that show me that paragraph or that provision where the chief secretary's decisions will override the chief minister's. This is all rhetorics. Forget everything else, Zaka. Do you know Ashish Khaitan? Not a friend of the BJP. Here is an article written by him in The Wire where he's clearly stated, and I can read out paragraphs, but I'll just read one paragraph where he said that para 95 makes it amply clear that the judgment does not constitutionally restrict the scope, application and reach of 239(883), which grants union government the overriding control over GNCTD. This is Ashish Khaitan. You don't believe me, you don't believe Zaka, you don't believe the law, you don't believe the judgment. You come here and you spew facts, fiction in the name of facts. Please, Mr. Jasmine, you can't keep lying like your chief minister keeps doing and then go around taking apologies from Nitin Gadkari and Arun Jaitley.
Okay,
so clearly, stop paraphrasing from some WhatsApp university.
Jasmine, respond. Which part of this bill says that the chief secretary has overriding powers over the chief minister?
Say the provision and the clause.
Absolutely. If we had half an hour, I'll only point
provision
out
and clause. No, just tell me the provision and clause in the bill.
And 45D.
Tell me the provision clause in the bill.
45I. All of these very clearly state. Shehzad, if you have not read, I cannot. Please pardon.
Tell me the provision. I have the law with me. Tell me the provision
of this show. Please read
Jasmine,
45I, J and K. The reality is this. You said that the chief minister heads a panel and therefore he has all the powers. What does the law further state? That even if the National Civil Services Authority appoints a bureaucrat and let's say the chief minister is agreement with it, LG can overturn every decision
where
of the
the chief
services
secretary
authority.
will override the decision
again over
of the
here
chief minister.
On any and every matter, you have to read, my friend. If you are illiterate, if you do not have the ability to read, I cannot help you.
No,
45I, J and K, please go read it and please shut up.
No, one second. One second. Look, Jasmine, the point is the question that was before the Supreme Court, and my understanding is the question that is pertinent to this bill, which has been introduced in the Lok Sabha, is on the question of appointment and services. Please tell our viewers, where in the bill does it say that every decision taken by the Chief Minister can be overridden by the Chief Secretary or the Lieutenant Governor? Also, please tell us, where in this bill does it say that if there is a consensus in this National Civil Service Appointment Authority between the two bureaucrats and the Chief Minister, the LG can still override them? These are the two specific questions.
No, absolutely. The entire clause, which is part 3 of 45H, subsection 3 of 45H, which states how the National Civil Services Authority works. Zaka, again I repeat, it's a 3-member authority, 2 bureaucrats, 1 chief minister. The bureaucrats can overrule the chief minister. Let's assume that doesn't happen. The chief minister actually gets a good IS officer, an honest IS officer to serve the education department. The Lieutenant Governor, the bill further says that however, if the Lieutenant Governor disagrees even with the decision of this 3-member committee, which is unlikely because there are 2 bureaucrats who will do the bidding of the center, then the Lieutenant Governor can overturn it. There is absolutely no kind of a restriction on Lieutenant Governor calling the shots. Further, institutions, and these are decisions, this were never happened in the last 30 years in Delhi. 50 corporations, Zaka, the Women Commission, the Child Commission, DTC, Jal Board, DUSIP, which looks after slum, all the appointments are hereafter going to be made by either the Lieutenant Governor or the President of India. In the last 30 years, you mentioned that Mrs. Sheila Dikshit also had similar restraints. She never had this kind of, almost zero powers.
Okay.
Even in the matter of services, it was only after Arvind Kejriwal government was formed did the centre impose all these restrictions. It's very clear. BJP knows that it can never win Delhi by electoral vote.
You made that point, Jasmine.
Abusing the powers.
Okay, you made that point, Jasmine. Now
yield.
yield, please. Let Shehzad respond. Yeah, Shehzad.
He said 45H says this, right? That's what he said.
45 I, J, K and H. Those are the 4 clauses that he quoted.
Okay, not 45H that I'm reading.
Exactly.
Let me read what 45H is.
Provided further that in case the Lieutenant Governor differs with the recommendation made.
Can I read what 45H is?
He may, for reasons to be
Can I read what 45H is?
Return the recommendation.
Can I read what 45H
Jasmine,
is?
Shehzad has got the bill in front of him, 45H. Yeah.
Notwithstanding anything contained in any law for the... Notwithstanding anything contained in any law for the time being in force, the National Capital Service Authority shall have the responsibility to recommend the transfer and postings of all the Group A officers and officers of DANIC serving in the office affairs of the Government of National Capital Territory of Delhi, but not officers serving in connection with any subject matter either fully or in part connected with entries 1 to 18 of the list 2 of state list or the 7th schedule of the Constitution and entries 64, 65, 66. Where does it say the Chief Secretary will overrule whatever the Chief Minister
No, he's saying subclause 3.
Okay, let's go to subclause 3.
45H, subclause 3.
I'm going to subclause 3. The Lieutenant Governor, after the receipt of such recommendation under the subsection L or subsection 1 and subsection 2 of this section, may pass appropriate orders giving effect to the recommendation made. Provided that the Lieutenant Governor, before passing appropriate orders on any such recommendation, may ask for relevant material regarding the Group A officers. Where is it? Where is it?
Jasmine, where does it say the LG
will
can overrule?
Further. No,
where
continue.
is it saying this?
Continue. Provided further that in case the Lieutenant Governor differs with the recommendations made, whether based upon the material so called for or otherwise, the Lieutenant Governor may, for reasons to be recorded in writing, return the recommendation to the authority. Provided also that in case of a difference of opinion, the decision of the Lieutenant Governor will be final.
He seemingly says that the Lieutenant
Governor
Governor
says that in
disagree
case
with
of a difference of opinion, the decision of the Lieutenant Governor will be final.
Okay, let him respond now. Let him respond.
Any and everything.
Let him respond. Yeah, Shehzad, respond.
Firstly, Jasmine said that the Chief Secretary can overrule the Chief Minister. It's nowhere in the bill. Secondly, now he says the LG can take a final decision. Of course. Do you know the system of Delhi? Delhi is not a normal state where the Madhya Pradesh governor is just a nominal head and the Chief Minister is the real executive. Delhi is not a normal... Please do not interrupt, sir. Mr. Zaka,
one second.
How can I make a point to the audiences if I'm interrupting?
Jasmine, 1 second, please. Jasmine, 1 second, please.
You cannot lie what the Supreme Court has
already
decided.
You asked him a question. You read out the clause 45H, subclause 3. Let him now respond.
You have somebody like Umesh Saigal sitting here. The capital of Delhi is not a normal state, and the constitution says that the scheme is that 1, 2 and 18, the parliament can directly make laws in state lists. But if Parliament chooses to make on any other subject in the state list, it is as good as a concurrent list. This is what the Supreme Court judgment of May 11 says. And yet you are not able to read this or comprehend it. It is not my problem.
No, but what is your response to what he said about the LG having the authority to overrule the NCP?
Of course, the LG, technically it is the LG that will get, now the LG's executive power on services. But still, the centre has created, or the parliament has created an authority. 1 second, can you stop interrupting, Zaka?
That's the point that he's making.
But I have to answer you. How can I answer?
Fair enough. 1 second, you're answering me, not him. 1 second, Jasmine, 1 second.
That makes sense if he's interrupting.
1 second, Jasmine.
I'm answering the exact same point.
The point that he's making, and I think you're validating his point, is that the LG then can overrule even the NCSSA.
1 second.
Then why appoint the NCCSA?
Let me explain to you. In every state, there is a public service commission that decides. Right? There is an authority here too. The authority has bureaucrats, but it is headed by the Chief Minister, which is showing that there is a bigger heart given that Chief Minister led this committee. Now they come to a decision. They can come unanimously to a decision, or they may have a difference. If they have a difference, the deadlock has to be solved. So the deadlock will be solved by the LG. This is the scheme. What is the problem in the scheme? Why does the Chief Minister think that he, in a scheme of Delhi, where the ultimate authority of making laws is with Parliament on state list, he should have the power when it is not constitutionally envisaged.
I'll give Onika Mehrotra and then Umesh Saigal the final word. Onika Mehrotra, it comes back to the government is saying that this bill is being supported even by non-NDA parties like the BJD, the YSRCP. There are parties who are not aligned to either the opposition, the India Alliance, or to the NDA, and they are also supporting this bill. So then you are misguided in your attempt to calling this draconian, authoritarian, etc., etc. Onika Mehrotra.
I feel the Bharatiya Janata Party, the central government, has unnecessarily brought a matter of confrontation between the union territory or the central government or wherever they feel like. The question here is, as you rightly said, when Congress was in power, with Sheila ji here in Home Affairs, there were dialogues and conversations. Unnecessarily confrontation has been brought in by the LG, which I think has been on a very bad taste for the people of Delhi.
Who was the LG? Who appointed Najib Jung was having confrontation with the Delhi government all the time? Onika, who appointed Najib Jung, by the way? Point 2, I do not need to be lectured about role of governors by Congress party.
You have
and
the
point 3, what has been done, is it
Okay, Shehzad, no, one second. When Jasmine interrupted while you were speaking, I asked him to stop. So
seizing sanctimonious on an issue
Please,
concentrate on the law and order situation of...
Finish your point,
unnecessary confrontation. BJP always had the habit of, as I said, my way or the highway. There has to be a balance of power also. You allow the elected government to function. Yes, if they are not able to do it, there has to be a super authority. But having said that, the Supreme Court gives us an order, and then BJP, either midnight or any time, they come with all sort of adhyadesh. They come with all sorts of
Saab, I'll give you the final word.
Running the government on their own whims and fancies.
By the way, the first court, this matter went to court in 2015. We are in 2023. It's been 8 years, and we still don't see resolution between who actually, has the power to appoint bureaucrats in Delhi, who has power over services and appointments, whether it's the elected government or is it the lieutenant governor. Mr. Sehgal, final word.
Oh, no, I don't think there is any confusion here. As far as the appointing authority is concerned, for any union territory, including Delhi, it is the president. And the recommending authority and recruitment rules are by the Union Public Service Commission. Delhi does not have a state public service commission. So let us forget the appointments. They have accepted that the subordinate services board will be set up. Subordinate services board does only class 3 and class 4 appointments, and these appointments are also then approved by the lieutenant governor. That is by the president, by the president's authority.
Okay.
Now, as far as the suspension, dismissal, and this thing is concerned, that is governed by the Central Vigilance Commission instructions. There is a vigilance manual. The CVC is a constitutional, statutory authority. There is our law, and the CBI controls the anti-corruption aspects
Thank you
of the
very
union
much,
territory, whether it is of
Mr.
Sehgal, or it is of this.
Shehzad Poonawalla, and of course Jasmine Shah for joining us. We'll see how this progresses in Parliament. The bill has been tabled. The debate, of course, will happen tomorrow in the Lok Sabha. Let's now